Good day, ladies and gentlemen. And today we're here to relieve some stress by playing Wolfenstein Hearts of Liberty, which uses the brutal Wolfenstein gameplay enhancement mod to basically make a game that I've become quite addicted to as of late. It doesn't run all that smoothly for whatever reason, with frame drops and the like, but yeah, it's more than fun enough, even with the frame drops. Oh, and I can tell you something, lads and lasses. Let's see. And hello, Ross Dude. So, today is an example of a very bad day where you need some stress relieved. Now, not every bad day is a carbon copy of one another. Today is a bad day almost unlike any other. Why, you might ask, is today a bad day? Because, as of today, my stepfather has shuffled off the mortal coil. And, seeing as how I'm feeling a bit, shall we say, negative, I thought I'd go ahead and do something to distract myself from any emotional pain, of which there is a considerable amount. But that's one thing to think about. How we deal with life is at least as important as how we deal with death, as Captain Kirk would once say. Actually, Captain Kirk is still saying that, because the Shat, at least, isn't dead, despite being in his 90s. But yes, death, most unpleasant indeed. I was fortunate that, well, up until today, I've been fairly fortunate that all my major family members have not died, or even become really, really sick. My stepfather actually was fairly hale and hearty up until literally the end of January of this year. And initially, it seemed like he was going to be perfectly fine, because all he had was some gallstone issues. But unfortunately, that was just one of the many issues. But ultimately, what got him was pancreatic cancer. Which, yeah, at least he didn't suffer too badly. And this is Wolfenstein X. You can find it on ModDB. It is most fun indeed. It's the developers say that it's primarily designed for co-op, but if you hit the quick save key quickly as possible, you'll be fine. Because I've been playing through it the last couple days. The thing I really hate about the whole cancer thing, though, moving on to something horribly depressing, though, is just how fast that went. He went from benching 150 fucking pounds to, well, yeah. The thing is, that's one of those weird aspects of life. See, this is going to be kind of a modeling stream. I'm not going to get too emo, but it's like, is it better to go quickly or go slowly? I mean, it's like, or it's actually, the funnier thing to say is, it's better not to go at all, but, oof. It's like, which is better? Because I've read about a lot of negative things happening to people. God damn it. Actually, I didn't die that badly. Negative things. So it's like, well, he didn't suffer too much, but it'd be very nice if he was not, well, no longer amongst the living. But yeah, I do intend to do some videos, sort of like honoring my stepfather. It's not going to be anything like really annoying. And I'm not going to be like, oh yes, be sure to donate to my GoFundMe, because, well, I'm from Texas, and most of us have this thing called pride. So, we don't really like to ask for too much assistance or do any e-begging. Actually, no, I take that back. Angry Joe does the e-begging. But he's from Austin, that doesn't count. That might as well be California Junior. Except for Alamo Drafthouse. Because Alamo Drafthouse is still awesome. He was pretty epic. I know, Total Biscuit, you know, I get that Total Biscuit kind of became a bit of a lefty asshole at one point, but, you know, I chalk that up to, like, ignorance, because how much does random video game dude really even know about politics? And, you know, his family has had to deal with all that aftermath, and he had kids and stuff like that. And so, like, you know, my stepdad dying is bad, but I'm not, like, 12, you know. So, I can handle it a lot better than, you know, somebody a lot younger could. But yeah, my stepdad lived a very interesting life, a very cool dude all around. I don't think he would actually classify himself as any one thing, other than just sort of like, I guess, like a free thinker, so to speak. But he was a biker dude, which, and this is kind of depressing. I'd been saving up to buy a motorcycle, and well, I'll be riding his to honor him, but also to keep it going, which was a 1999 Harley Dynaflow, a very, very beautiful motorcycle, to say the least. But he was a biker dude. He was an artist. One of my favorite pictures of his was, or is of, because we still have it, is of Christopher Walken. One thing that I do kind of regret to a certain extent, but we did a lot of stuff before he passed on. But one thing we didn't get to do is watch any movies together, which kind of sucks, because we had a very similar taste in music, or in movies, I should say, and in music too, but his taste was a lot older than mine. I mean, it still had a lot of overlap, but, like, for example, a record from, say, 1985 was too new for his taste. But we definitely had the same taste in movies. We liked a lot of the same ones. I saw his DVD collection, and we had a lot of the same things. Although he did not like Alien Resurrection, because all he had was the Alien triple pack. I think Alien Resurrection is substantially better than Alien 3, and I stand by that. That is a hill that I will have a last stand upon. It was much better. It was much more entertaining and much more ridiculous. But anyway, but yeah. Now he actually made me a cool little Viking axe, a magic axe, I like to call it. That was the last thing he was able, the creative project he ever did. But he was always just a cool dude. He's a very nice guy. One of the things that was kind of cool when I first met him was I didn't really know what to expect, and the first time I met him, he was just very genial, very friendly. Didn't come off as, you know, standoffish or anything. But what really made him go from just some random dude, because when I first learned of his existence, I just called him Dude Bro. Not to his face, but just in general. And then, him and I worked on my car. Now I went into it kind of being negative, as I was back in early 2020. And I kind of expected, you know, he was just gonna kind of stand around and futz with some tools, and, you know, him and his friend that was gonna show up, the friend, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna get a lot of work done. But to my pleasant surprise, me and his friend named Bebo was his name, we worked on the car. It was really, I was like completely shocked, like we actually worked on the car, and he didn't just like say turn a wrench. He was like, oh, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. I was just like completely shocked. I was like, what? We're actually going to do work? Whatever next, right? And that was the day he turned from Dude Bro to Cool Dude. And then, little by little, and I guess I should say it went pretty fast too. I went from just like, oh yeah, he's some guy, to basically what made me really like him was he always kept his word. If he said he was going to do something, he'd always do it. And, you know, the car thing was when he went from just a stranger to the cool dude, and then I forget what day it was. But actually, no. The car is when he went from random guy to basically my stepdad. And then it was really cool. It was really, really cool. And, you know, he had a difficult childhood, as things were back in the day. He got drafted to fight in Vietnam, where he got shot, I think, 3 separate times. But he survived, that at least. And so, you know, it was a hard life, but at the end of it, he got to really be happy. I mean, it was something. I'm glad I was able to bring the happiness that I brought into his life, and my mother brought a lot of happiness as well. And it's one of those things. Right now, like, intellectually, I can be like, well, you know, he was able to have a good life at the end, and then now, it's like, emotionally, it's just, I'm kind of like dying inside at the moment. And so I can't imagine losing a family member just at a younger age, because I've been very lucky that no one has died off. Let's see. Over the phone today. Someone would have knocked on the door and tried to do that. Yes, they would. Exactly. Alien 3 is negative. It is the most dull film imaginable. And it completely ruins the Alien franchise in many respects. And my stepdad really liked to do, he would like to do charcoal paintings and stuff like that. He would also do, woodworking as well. Like, he was really, really good at that. Like, ridiculously good. But he was, what one could classify as a Renaissance man kind of guy. Like, basically anything he wanted to do, he would learn how to do it. That actually kind of rubbed off on me in the short time that, I knew him. Because in the past, I would always be like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that. But he was always like, yeah, well, I couldn't do this either until I, you know, learned how to do it. And so, stuff like art went from like, oh, this is impossible to, you know what? I guess if I just tried to learn it, I guess I could learn it. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see what we got here. Oh, dear. Well, I guess that's something I'm gonna have to do tomorrow. Oh, let's see here. But, yeah. I personally am gonna try to do some art myself at some point. And also, evidently my mother wants to install some sort of doorbell camera. Oh dear! I guess I'll have to get to work on that tomorrow. But, yeah, speaking of which... this has not been a shitty week just for me. One of my major friends actually had their sister attacked. Because of all that, anti-Asian violence going on. That, of course, the, insane leftists are, of course, attributing to the white supremacy, except that's not really how that's working. But, whatever. Never let a good crisis go to waste, as they would say. So yeah, things kind of suck right now. But yeah, Alien Resurrection versus Alien 3. I've gone on about that a lot, and I gotta say, Alien 3 just sucks. It ruins the entire Alien franchise. Because it goes from, oh yeah, here's these cool characters that we introduced in the previous film, to kill them all. I mean, realistically, if you wanted to just end the Alien franchise, end it at Aliens, I mean, you basically have just, they go into hypersleep, and that's it. The end. You don't have to wake them up, kill them all off, and then basically resolve nothing. And besides, for all the money spent on Alien 3, it feels like a crappy late-night cable TV movie. I mean, it just does. It is a crap film that people will endlessly defend, which I guess is their right to be crap at movie appreciation. See, I don't really like that, though. I mean, like, Ripley's our major character, and unfortunately, it just doesn't feel like a good death. You know? It just feels like... it feels too low budget for my taste. Now, the same scene used at the end of the Super Nintendo game. Now, that works pretty well, because you just killed an alien queen, and then she decides to kill the very last alien by chucking herself in the... well, it's not lava, it's molten lead, but whatever. It's just one of those things that, I don't really like it. By which I mean I utterly despise... actually, here's the thing. I will say that Alien 3 is a better movie than AVP 1. I will say that. Even though AVP 1 is, more action-packed than Alien 3 is, AVP 1 has much less artistic integrity than Alien 3 does. So there, that's the best you're gonna get out of me. Okay? It's got slightly more artistic integrity than the cheapest Paul W.S. Anderson crap. I'm not sure if that is a real accomplishment or not, because it's not that hard to be better than a Paul W.S. Anderson film. Just saying. Let's see. Realistically, yeah, about Ripley. And then drift off. Yeah, I mean, well, there are multiple plot lines, Suddy, that you just described that happened in the comics, and the audio drama does just that as well. It's just, I won't say that Alien 3 is like a torch, is as bad as the modern day, you know, kill the past concept, but it did feel very mean-spirited. I will also say that I prefer Alien 3 to RoboCop 2, but not necessarily RoboCop 3. RoboCop 3 might be really poorly put together, but RoboCop 2, my god, that is a mean-spirited movie. Like, it's just terrible in terms of its spirit. Actually, here's the thing. RoboCop 2, I would say, is more mean-spirited than Alien 3. And the music playing for this level is completely wrong. This is from Quake 2. I don't really know why they chose to use this, because the rest are all Wolfenstein tracks. Now, that being said, I quite like this particular piece of music, so I'm not complaining. It just feels kind of out of place. And I'm being vaporized by a gunny plasma rifle. God damn it. Alien 3, is it worth... Alien 3 is better than Prometheus. Prometheus, falls afoul of, it having absolutely no plot. Now, I know that might sound, kind of salty, but when you think about it, what is the plot of Prometheus, other than artistic stuff so far up its own ass that it basically might as well serve as a methane factory, because holy crap, what is the plot? We must find our creators. Sure. I don't really know what they were thinking when it came to that, because my god. And I'm sure Alien Covenant sucks just as much. I have not forced myself to watch that. Also, we've got Natsock waifus over there. I'm not really sure why Natsock waifus are a thing, but they are. And you can manually reload this weapon, game. I know you can, because I've done it. I guess they don't know how the M1 Garand works. Also, the M1 Garand is a ridiculously good gun in this, at least until you get the Browning automatic rifle. And personally, I'd love to have a real Browning automatic rifle. Unfortunately, they cost about, I think, like $5 a piece. I'm surprised that Ian from Forgotten Weapons hasn't reviewed the Ohio Ordnance Browning automatic rifle. And I was right. Doing a little live stream like this did make me feel a little bit better. So I appreciate all of you, the fans, giving your moral support. Because right now I feel like due to all the stress over the last couple of days, like I feel like somebody just beat me with a stick. It's kind of weird, really. I'm not really sure why I feel that way. This could have been so. It's bad. It's okay at best. Okay at best? What is good about Prometheus? I ask you. I saw that movie. There was no plot, and everybody thought they were way smarter than they really were. Okay, I've beaten this level already. What am I missing here? Oh, I think I gotta go in the guard shack. Yeah, that's exactly what you gotta do. It's like, what exactly is good about Prometheus? Like, what makes it in any way entertaining? Because the monster is completely nonsensical. The characters make no sense from any perspective. The actual plot of finding the creators just... It's like an arty film that somebody at, you know, community college came up... Actually, no, not community college. Somebody at Berkeley came up with. The action is... Let me put it this way. Suspension of disbelief is a thing. But I actually find it less difficult, yeah, I'm gonna be an asshole, to suspend my disbelief in a Michael Bay Transformers film than it is Prometheus. Because, okay, these super scientists, right, have this billion-dollar spacecraft, And their first instinct when sitting on an alien planet, and everybody talks about this because it is stupid, and it does kind of take you out of the film. Okay, you're on an alien planet that you can't breathe on, and so your first instinct is, of course, to take your helmet off in a potentially hostile environment. Then your other instinct is when you're trapped, you know, in some sort of tunnel, you don't know where you are, your next instinct is to smoke the weed to engage in some Bob Marley activities. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how would these people even pass selection? It's like, it just was so dumb. And it's like one person on that spacecraft has a weapon, which is also dumb. It's just, it falls flat, and it's like, why exactly do people not know how to run perpendicular? I get that that's a common media trope, but it's really dumb. It just does not work. So I'd rather watch Alien 3 than watch Prometheus any day, because at least Prometheus, or at least Alien 3 makes some degree of sense, even if the most memorable character with his most memorable line is that he's a rapist and murderer of women. Because let's face it, that's the one line everybody remembers from Alien 3. And when that's your best line, you got problems, but at least it's better than the most memorable line in Prometheus, which is... Oh wait, there isn't one, because Prometheus is generic shite. Whoa, that guy just tanked all those shots. Let's see. See, I would actually disagree that Prometheus has good cinematography, just because it's... I guess there's a different definition of good, because I guess it's not terrible, but at the same time, you can tell that he's trying to be Mr. Artistic. Oh, crap. And I tripped over my own grenade. But you can just tell, it's like, I will never forget that first scene in Prometheus, because that's when I knew that it was just done. That nothing that came after that was going to be good. Because they linger on the sweeping vistas way too much. Just like, you know, it's like you knew it was going to be crap. That it was going to be the most hippy-dippy shit you could ever imagine. And this particular mod is really, really good. Wolfenstein X is the name. The levels are not quite as finely put together as the brutal Wolfenstein levels, but the gameplay is really, really good. And I've got 1 health. I like to live dangerously. Chuck it. I can still hear him walking around in there. Oh, crap, no! The grenade physics could be a little bit better. Chuck it. Well, that didn't work. Let's see. Shaw. I forget who Shaw is in that. Was he the generic dude, or was he the generic dude? Or any, like, basically the only character from Prometheus that I remember is the Michael Fassbender character, the android, which was still pretty crap in and of itself. Was Shaw like the boyfriend character? That sounds like a generic boyfriend, goddammit, name. And yeah, the dude that said he was the rapist and murderer of women actually did redeem himself at the end by trying to take on a xenomorph with an axe. And in a better movie, he would have been able to kill that xenomorph with that axe, because that would have been awesome. Instead of just, well, dying. I mean, I get that it makes sense from a logical standpoint, but when it comes to a film about, midnight black beasts from beyond the stars, who cares about logic? Okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to kill that guy with 1 health, so I probably should just leave him alone. Until I can find some health. It's like, yeah. I'm sure if I was a little bit more, awake, despite having gotten no sleep over the past week, I might be able to just pop in and out and kill him. Do the old in, out, as, I can't remember his name now. The dude from Clockwork Orange would say, ooh, there's a, pizza box with some health. And indeed, it is a med kit at 26 health. See, they don't give you much health in this, but it's still not a slog compared to some of these others. Let's see. Well, here's a question. How do you get Wolfenstein 2009 on PC? I would recommend getting the trade paperback version of it. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint. Because the trade paperback version is by far the easiest way to do it. Alright, let's go ahead and save again. Haha, take that, you bastard. Always get trade paperback. And Shaw was the chick. Let's see, I'm trying to remember who she is. Now, was she like the... Yeah, no. Was she the main scientist chick, or was Shaw the, blonde chick? I can't remember. The main chick. Was the main chick blonde? I just don't remember. I haven't seen that movie since 2000, whatever the fuck it was. Oh, there's another goddamn Hans Grosse down there. I hear you clopping around there, you bastard. Let's just chuck some grenades. The brunette. Wait a minute, wait a minute. I think I can picture her. Oh, was she the one where it's like, my father tried to find the creators of humanity? Yeah, she was okay in terms of attractiveness, but I found her personality to be really, really... Yeah. That kind of hippy-dippy personality always annoyed the shit out of me. That's one of the great things about Ripley, and that was that she was a very practically minded character. Oh my. Maybe. Alright, now where the hell was I trying to go? You can I definitely recognize like all the textures and sprites for this. Okay, those fucking SS whatever the fucks they are some of the most annoying characters in this mod. They move way too fast and just shred you with those goddamn MP40s. But then again, they were also really, really annoying in the original Wolfenstein as well. Because, as we can see, he just evaporated me. Alright, stop running around, you little bastard. Get back here. Or not. See, he can blast you, but it's very difficult to blast that piece of crap. I will admit that Rip was way skinnier than I remembered after seeing a recent picture of her. But hey, skinny chicks can work. Just need to get some, get her a couple of cheeseburgers so she can fill out a little bit. Also, I failed to see the utility of indoor radar dishes. That just seems a little off there, just saying. But when it comes to aliens and versus and the predators, there sadly just hasn't been much good recently. And by recently, I mean in the last 10 years. I was thinking about that just today, actually, before the unpleasantness earlier. The unpleasantness is not due to end, ever, really. But I've recently read Predator Hunters 1, 2, and 3, which are the most recent Predator comics, as far as I know. Not very good. And by not very good, I mean, once again, barely any plot, barely any lore, and it's one of those things where, oh yeah, that's got that fucking panther out there. It's a fat cat. And as far as I know, there is no way to actually hurt that bloody thing. So all you gotta do, all you can really do is just kind of like run away from it. And it's... Also, the scale in this game is a bit off. This mod scaling is like, BJ must be like 4 foot tall. Or that thing's the size of a mouse. But all we gotta do is get shot in the head. I know, Thick Ripley, I would love to see an image of that. I totally wouldn't I mean, never mind. Although how depressed I am, I might be too depressed to even do that. God damn it. Yes, indeed. The General, too depressed to even fap. Truly, depression knows no bounds. But anyway, Predator Hunters 1, 2, and 3 has no plot. Other than predators show up, people fight them, the end. like, it just seems like a lot of these ideas are completely undeveloped, and it almost feels like Hellraiser in some respects. And what I mean by that tank is really glitchy. And what I mean by that is, after Hellraiser 1 and 2, just about every Hellraiser movie is some other film retooled just to have Pinhead. And so the first comic introduces this international task force headed up by some rich Indian chick to hunt down the predators. And they got like predator technology and stuff like that. They recruit a Native American dude from one of the Predator comics. I forget his name. Basically, not Turok. And he's okay, but he doesn't seem to really get any characterization. If anything, one of the new characters gets more than he does. And like, the base idea of that comic is okay. There's an island where a predator ship crash landed, and a corrupt island governor basically runs it as a hunting preserve. And like, these islanders will dress up like predators and hunt people that like show up at the island. Cool idea, but then the predators are just sort of there for no reason. It make a much better standalone comic, and I wonder if that's what it was. Then the second comic, I literally read the comic 2 days ago, and I cannot remember what the plot was. The third comic wasn't bad, but it just suffered from a major lack of characterization, and it's still just a generic Predator plot. What happens in the third comic is we get Schaefer back, John Schaefer, that is, Arnie's brother, who, he's looking pretty spry for a guy pushing 60. By which I mean he still looks pretty much the same as he did back in 1989, which he really shouldn't. I mean, my stepdad, before cancer, was pretty spry. I mean, like I said, benching 150 pounds and having energy, like, even greater than someone like me. So, but Schaefer, really, he looked like he was in his 40s, and I don't buy that. I do not buy that at all. And, the third comic also had the Russian chick from, Predator Cold War, looking pretty young. I guess we could say she was a MILF indeed. But the overall plot of that comic was two predators show up, hunt down people, and people gotta stop them. It's like rinse and repeat. Just terrible. And then Predator, AVP, and Alien, and AVP Fire and Stone. That was like the big thing my brain has stopped working for a moment. It was like the big tie-in to Prometheus. I finally read it a few months ago. It was awful. It was crap. He did not play video games. He was not a gamer like at all. He did not get into that. Like I said, his music taste did not extend past the 1960s. So a lot of fortunate son. But he actually liked, he was more into like pool and stuff like that. What's kind of depressing is we never got a chance to play that, because I really wanted to learn. But I'm still going to learn anyway, sort of like in his honor, so to speak. But anyway, AVP Fire and Stone had, they didn't really have much plot. I guess that's the modern day comic thing, where just like one event leads into another and nothing really has any significance. And what the main idea of AVP Fire and Stone basically happened was the android goes nuts, monologues a lot, and ultimately nothing is really accomplished. And I know that's not a really good synopsis, but from what I remember in Fire and Stone, nothing was accomplished other than some android goes nuts, becomes like a partial xenomorph android, and dies. Like with AVP, you know, AVP Prey, it's a fairly basic plot of stop the queen, but at least I can say what happened in it. You know, Alien Nightmare Asylum, at least I can say what happened. At least they did something. But for whatever reason, after the female war, there were no, like, lofty plots. It was literally just aliens show up, kill a bunch of people, and at the end of the day, rock off with a devil at the end. It's very, very generic. It's like many of the so-called duels had that same problem, where predators rock up trying to attack the main character, get defeated, comic over. One comic I've got to review. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I got to do it. Magnus Robot Fighter versus the Predator. That is the weirdest crossover ever for me, because it's like, how many people were waiting around in the 90s for the Magnus Robot Fighter crossover? I just can't get over that. It's like, until I looked, and I wonder how many more fans of Magnus Robot Fighter were created because of that crossover. Because I didn't even know what Magnus Robot Fighter even was until I was looking for Predator comics and found that. I'm still not really sure what Magnus the Robot Fighter is supposed to be, other than it's in the future of 1999, and Magnus fights robots. But then there's like some not evil robot. It's weird. And I think there's also a crossover with Turok as well. It's one of those things where I think some of these crossovers were a mistake. Like, AVP, when you think about it, is a weird kind of thing anyway, because it's two different characters from two different franchises that magically work. But some things just don't. I'm surprised RoboCop didn't try to arrest the Predator. I'd like to see that. Your move, creep. Dead or alive. You're coming with me. That reminds me of a YouTuber. Let's see, hold on. Let's check the chat real quick. I think she took it out of context. Oh yeah, they got along quite well. It's another one thing, like, he became like a full member of the family. He became a full member of everything, because like, we even collaborated on projects together. Which is, once again, pretty depressing that that's over with now. Oh, shut up. Stop your squalling. Yeah, we collaborated on projects together. It was quite remarkable just how everybody got along. My stepfather was one of those guys that, you know, he got along with just about everybody. He wasn't naive or stupid about it, but he was just one of those really personable kind of guys. And the world is much worse off for him to no longer be here. Oh, I taught you how to play poker. I never was much of a card game kind of guy, but I was going to learn at some point. Let's see. One day I will actually stream Wolfenstein New Order. One thing that I've found, having gone back and played some older games, around 2014 and up until I think just 2018, I'd kind of stopped playing retro games. And so I was saying, like, oh, this latest game was like the greatest ever. I don't really think Wolfenstein New Order is the greatest ever anymore. It's like, it's definitely has the production values, but I don't know how great it really holds up, because I don't find myself playing it. That's why I stopped saying if something was the greatest of this or the greatest of that, just saying if it's Alpha Prime. And New Order is definitely not Alpha Prime, and New Colossus even less so. They're good games, don't get me wrong, but they're not a game that I really seek out to play. It's the same way with Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Like, I got a comment saying I should stream Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 2, but honestly, I have no real desire to play that game. It's just, the Ancient Gods to me are way too difficult for me, and I just don't really feel like going back to even Doom Eternal. They did fix a little bit of the arena issue, but it's just Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 by extension just feels, they feel too tedious. Like with this game, you know, we're not locked in an arena, and the gory kill system, having played it in 2 games and 1 DLC, I really just can't get into it much anymore. And so that's really one of those things where that's the difference between a game that you can get hyped about and really enjoy the first time you play it, but then when you go back to it, you don't really like it that much. Like, for example, right now, I'm actually excited to keep playing this game because it's really good. I've been trying to find a game to play for like the last month. I've found nothing that really interested me until I found this mod, and it's like I can't stop playing it because it's that fun. It's got that gameplay element. Now, of course, I would like something with better story, which is even harder to find. But like in terms of gameplay, this is just really good. It's hard where it needs to be, and fun where it should be. And I'm gonna get killed. No, I'm not. Chuck a grenade. Ooh. And to me, it's not like the violence aspect. You know, like blowing somebody's arm off like that. I'm like, oh, blood. It's like, for me, it's just like the gameplay, the speed, and all the rest about it really just sets it apart. They also get the Browning automatic rifle just right. It shows it as open bolt, which is what it was. I've always been a big fan of the Browning automatic rifle, specifically the Polish version. That, if I was going to own a BAR, or a BAR-derived rifle, I would own that. Because the Poles got it right. With that pistol grip and quick detach barrel and all the rest. All the others just... if I couldn't have the Polish version, which I probably wouldn't be able to, I would have the Colt monitor rifle. Ooh, I have no ammo! Shit! I cannot fight that tank at all. I have nothing that can scratch it. Hey, it's like real life. Because I know that's supposed to be a panther. Let's see. Xbox 360 version of The Darkness. I actually own that. I rebought that for a review that I've not had a chance to do yet. I played that game back in the day, like way back when it came out. It's pretty good. It was actually one of those things where it was so next-gen, it was ridiculous. Because you could actually watch the entire To Kill a Mockingbird film in that. The story was remarkably good. It was one of those things where it's like, this is going to be next-gen. And then that game was promptly kind of forgotten about. Darkness 2 wasn't bad. I actually have that on PC. I got it for free. Not the trade paperback version, believe it or not, but I think I got it free on GOG. God damn it. Got it for free off of GOG, I think. Well, that could have been that Humble Bundle thing. Whichever. It was certainly not trade paperback, of that I can guarantee. Yeah, Darkness 2 wasn't bad, but it was one of those, I am so dead. And see, like, this isn't that bad. I've played a lot harder Doom mods than this. See you, Ross, dude. 2 of 3, more than 2016. Yep. Well, I like Doomslayer because it's one of those over-the-top kind of things. But, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. You either love it or you hate it. Doomslayer is definitely more metal album-y. And once you learn what he is with the Ancient Gods Part 2, it kind of gets bullshitty. By kind of, I mean really. Run! Get out of the way, Natsock waifu! I'm not going to drink soy. Just say no to soy. Just say no to soy. I wonder if the Natsocks actually ate or drank soy products. No wonder they were so mean. Well, by mean, I mean horribly murderous. Which I guess you could say is mean, just on a larger scale. That was another thought I had today. Actually, I was talking about something completely different. And then I forgot what it was. Let me see here. Shadowrun remaster. Personally hate. Try punching the tank. That might work, you never know. Oh, Shadow Man, not Shadow Run. Oh, crabbies. You're coming, as the mod would suggest. Not the mod, the meme. Well, never mind, that was the exit. Territory verboten. It's like a summertime romance, exhilarating at the beginning, but next year it's kind of flat. Yep, I can agree with that, because I haven't touched Doom Eternal since I did the review. These days, I'm going to not let myself get too emotional when it comes to certain games. Just because it's like, oh my god, the hype is real! And then it's like, yeah, the hype is real, but the game really isn't. And so that's the big problem with those, with some of these modern games. Not all modern games are like that. Because, like, Terminator Resistance, the hype was real with that. Like, Terminator Resistance was really good. And I look forward to playing it again for the review. Now, I'm not sure when the next review is going to be out, just because, well, I am dealing with the whole familial issue at the moment. So, right now I'm kind of okay, because I'm still kind of emotionally numb, but I'm probably going to blow emotionally at some point, so I'm going to need time to recover. That's why I wanted to get a little stream out now, just to tide everyone over while I try to recover from this as best I can. Oh man, it sucks though. I'm just glad I don't have that many regrets when it came to my stepdad. At least I did all the cool stuff I could think of to do when he was... That's the one thing that everyone always says. It's like, yeah, you gotta make the most of life, you know? And that sounds great in theory, but you never know how much life you're going to have. And so you don't necessarily want to live every day like it's your last, or, you know, all the rest. But it is true that you shouldn't put stuff off because you don't know if there's going to be an off to put it off to. I guess is the best way to put it. But you don't want to sit around, you know, being paranoid about death either. It's one of those things where you just got to find a happy balance. Which is ultimately what I did. Is we did a lot of stuff, even though we didn't have a lot of time, and there was Corona and all the rest. The best part was, though, he didn't go in like a hospital or one of those old folks' homes, like what happened to a lot of people in like New York and other places, where these people were just, you know, left to die because Corona. So there is that. Could have been a whole lot worse. Yeah, I can agree with that. You know, Andrew Haxley, that kind of, or is it say Maxley? Haxley. That makes me kind of want to reinstall Skyrim again. Which actually is one of those, like, when it comes to Skyrim, half the fun of that game is trying to get all the mods to work. Because there's just so many of the bloody things. I have to see if I can't install the sex. I mean, Chastity mod. That's the mod we'll install. To be honest though, I've never gotten those mods to work. Like, never once could get one of the adult mods to work because I needed to test it for, science. Because I'd always end up crashing the game out. Now, some of those, mods are a little, like the furry mods are a little creepy, just saying. Or the, horse genitalia mod. I did not need that to exist. But it does. Then ironic, I don't know if it's ironic, but then hilariously, what once was a mod then became like standard in Red Dead Redemption 2, I think. Or I could be misremembering that. Smack him. Smack him. Also, we got Sergeant Schultz. Ugh. Also, we have Sergeant Schultz there from the classic television show Hogan's Heroes. Post-war, apparently he reopened his toy factory. So, like, the bumbling sergeant was actually the owner of a factory that got taken over by the Natsox. And see, that's one of those interesting things where one of the fan theories for Hogan's Heroes, because yes, that show was remarkably popular, and it's not hard to wonder why, because it actually is legitimately funny in places. Well, a lot of places. But, like, the fan theory is that after the war, Colonel Klink did not actually get tried for war crimes because it's implied that he didn't actually commit any war crimes, and that he got a job in Schultz's factory as like the night watchman or something. Like the mighty Prussian colonel ends up just a night watchman, whereas the slubby sergeant is actually the guy with the business, which I find absolutely hilarious. One can only dream. I really hope Hogan's Heroes is never, ever remastered. If you haven't had a chance to see that show, watch it. It is legitimately good. Also, there's another World War II show I would highly recommend. The Black Sheep Squadron. I watched that when it used to show up on the History Channel. It had little to do with reality, but who cares? It was really, really entertaining. And I think actually inspired some Star Wars stuff. Because a lot of the dogfights were not even remotely realistic, but feel like very Star Wars. And there were even rival pilots that, what was the name of the main character? Pappy Boyington, yeah. Now, Pappy Boyington was the only actual real-life guy. And he was played by Robert Conrad, who is sadly also since passed. He actually had a rivalry with one of the Japanese pilots, similar to what you'd see in some Star Wars works, like the rivalry between Wedge and Baron Fell. The old days of Star Wars. But yeah, definitely recommend Black Sheep Squadron. Now, I forget what Boyington's first name was at the moment, but I do remember seeing something. It stuck with me for years. The college he went to actually rejected a monument to him because they thought it was promoting imperialism, despite the fact that they have a monument to communists who fought in the Spanish Civil War. Because colleges. That's just something that always kind of stuck with me. Yeah, wokeness has been going on since long before many of us were even born. Pretty much I'm only PC these days because there's nothing on consoles I really want to play. Except for maybe Bloodborne, but I don't want to play that. I don't have enough time to play it to go buy a PS4. I mean, I could buy a PS4, but it's the same way with an M1 carbine. I could buy an M1 carbine, but I have absolutely no reason to do so. Other than I guess it would be kind of cool. The Raw sister from Skyrim. Brawl 3 brought it to my attention. I'll have to look at that. And I'm glad you like the videos, Andrew Haxley. Let's see. Oh, good series to watch that show a lot. It is good. MASH. MASH is one of those shows where the main guy, the Alan Alda character, is the one that gets all the attention, but I was always a big fan of Radar. I've always been a big fan of, like, the nerdy guys. I wonder why. Also, my god, Himmler was an ugly guy. No wonder he wanted to kill everyone. And there's everyone's favorite Addy. That picture is actually what Tick used when saying that Hitler was a socialist, which Hitler was. If you actually look at what he says in the old Mein Kampf, he is a colossal socialist. But anyway, we need not let socialism detain us. Unfortunately, that's a little harder to do these days than otherwise. Save here. Better watch after the armistice to get and the same interests, even corresponded. Nice. Hey, you're not bothering me. Well, Andrew Haxley, just look me up on Discord. First console, Series XL, and very much PC upgrades. Because he had the most character development. Oh, he had Radar's job, huh? I don't know if I'd say Himmler looks like Hirohito. I think Hirohito wasn't quite as ugly as he was. I mean, glorious Nippon and all that. It's what's kind of funny is, like, when you think about the Natsocks, these people massacred millions upon millions of people, and they were at best middle managers, just like the Soviets. But no, we need not let that detain us. Lotz was canceled today. Let's see. Man, the Korean War. That is a long time ago. That's one of those wars that people have long since kind of forgotten about. Just because, I mean, yeah, you have MASH, but there aren't any games set in the Korean War. There's not really that many movies. Well, except for that one that that's fairly infamous that all the YouTubers talk about. oh, what was it called? The one with the dude in it. The dude, MacArthur. I'd love to do that. It's like you like go back in time to see like MacArthur. It's like, hey, it's the dude. It's like, I'm not a dude. Then what are you? And then like he comes out in a dress. I don't know. But anyway, man, Dear Lotz has been canceled today. He even looks like an asshole. You ever look at like some of those evil bastards? The one that like killed like a lot of people. They all look like assholes. I've often wondered though, like if you're that much of a piece of shit, do you start to look like one though? That's my question. But then again, there's perfectly normal people that, you know, carry out a bunch of heinous acts. I mean, just look at Stalin. Stalin at least looked a little bit better than old Addy, and he killed way more. Although I will say, yeah, it's General Lotz. Which dictator looked the best? Which one didn't look like a complete fat piece of shit? And Stalin, you know, he looked by far the best. I mean, Hitler didn't have anything on him. No wonder Hitler was married for only a day. Oh, but anyway, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. Actually, here's a terrible joke. Ava Braun, well, if you actually look at the time of death, it was 1 minute faster than Addy. She just couldn't stand him anymore. Actually, considering how... If you ever look at Mein Kampf, I gotta tell you, Addy must have been the most conceited, full of himself assholes of all time. Because that book reads like something you'd find on a college campus. It's one of those things that, to be perfectly honest, I don't really want any of Mein Kampf kicking around in my brain. But just looking at some of the quotes, it's like, my God, how Addy, maybe it's like the translation, but like, it's just the thickest, most almost impenetrable writing imaginable. Let's see. Red Phoenix by Larry... Ooh, I have that, but I've not read it yet. Red Phoenix by Larry Bond, which is like the Second Korean War. I have that. I have not read it yet, but I am going to at some point in the future. That is a long-ass book, if I'm not mistaken, though. Well, for me, I don't know how normal life is going to go back to since, well, the whole death in the family and all. That's one of the things I really hate about something like this. It's like, how do you go back to normal? I mean, the only thing you can really do is just, like, keep living. But I do hope that things go back to normal next year. That's the kind of shitty thing about this year. It's like, yeah, 2021's gonna be the best year. Oh. Yeah. Now, I gotta tell you, I don't know what's gonna happen with me personally this year. I'm definitely gonna try to live as happily as I can, but there's just a pall over this year. Actually, wow, I did not mean that joke. But you know what? I'm gonna make it anyway. There's just a pall over this year. My stepdad's first name is Paul. So, I imagine he's laughing as we speak. But anyway. Nah, it's one of those things that, you know, when there is a death like that, you do have to, you know, keep living, and you have to just... You don't forget the person who's died. You don't forget them. But you can't just sit around being depressed all the time. Let's see. Is the book still there? Yeah, Mein Kampf is supposed to be altered a bit from the original text. It's hard to find a legit version of that. I'm basically just going off of YouTube quotes. So, it's one of those things where you kind of got to take it with as much salt as you possibly can use. Wait, hold on. What are your thoughts on Bethesda and software? My thoughts on Bethesda are they're just a game company. I mean, they do good, they do bad. The thing is, it really just... Whoever holds the purse strings basically makes the game. And id Software has been allowed to do some fairly good things, although I can't say that any of the games they've made recently I've enjoyed past the first playthrough, so... Will the next open world RPG be any good? I don't think it will. And the reason I say that is everything is so woke now to the point where it's almost a law that I don't even want to imagine what the story's going to be like. And if you thought Skyrim was cut down, I can almost guarantee it's going to be cut down even further. So, I'm not really looking forward to it, but then again, you never know. It's hard to say. And thank you, Andrew Huxley. And nationalism gets a bad reputation because of media. When you look at National Socialism, it reminds me of that movie that I can't remember, Big Lebowski. It's like, say what you will about National Socialism, but at least it's an ethos. But you look at like Natsocks, the reason why they were so evil was not because of really nationalism. It had more to do with their particular flavor of Marxism, at least from what I've been able to determine from my own research. Their version of Marxism was replace the rich with a certain group. And that's what led them to go around and doing all that crap. But my theory isn't so much that, this is going to be somewhat controversial, is not so much that National Socialism had everything to do with all the murderousness, but it was just the final nail in the final coffin in that regard. Because when you look at it, anti-Semitism has been a part of European culture for much, much longer than National Socialism was a part of it. And so I feel like without those, you know, centuries of anti-Semitism, you wouldn't have had, you know, this level of depravity. At least that's my theory. It's not like it was something new, let's put it that way. So I'm not so sure if something on the scale of what the Natsocks did is possible everywhere. If you look at a lot of the mass killings in certain countries outside of, you know, the old Krautland, you can actually start to see some similarities, where usually it's some long-held, you know, ethnic or racial issues that have been going on for millennia. And that's what causes these people to go nuts and, well, kill everyone. At least that's what I've seen. Now, how true any of that is, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, nationalism. In Phoenix in one day. Not bad. Just waiting for us up there. Well, this is going to sound kind of nut, but I don't really care. My thought is, like when someone dies and they want to wait for someone, well, I'd like to think that if you're in some sort of, you know, heaven of some description, there's no guarantee that time flows linearly, so it could work somewhat like the Nexus in Star Trek Generations, where when Picard shows up to recruit Kirk, Kirk had been there for 80 years, but it felt like he'd just shown up and started chopping wood. So, it could be said, you know, to them, no time passes at all, because once again, we're assuming linear time, which may not necessarily be the case. But then again, there's no way for anyone to know until you die, so there's that. It actually reminds me of a game called, oh, I can't remember what it is now. It's an Obsidian game. And, where they kind of cover that. But it's hard to say. I just know that my stepdad would want my mother to be happy as best she could after something like this happened. And, I know that, you know, he'll be there when the time comes. And if you're atheist, then just ignore any ramblings from somebody who has a belief in an earthly god. How about that? You ignore me, and I ignore you, and we all live happily ever after. How about that? And Return to Castle Wolfenstein is pretty nice. I didn't really like Skyrim. And yeah, we do have Return to Castle. See here. Spread the hate of nationalism. Yeah, it's true. And yeah, I can understand not liking Bethesda games. I can enjoy them for what they are, but I don't really go back to them outside of Skyrim. Really, when it comes to an open world RPG, I really do enjoy Fallout New Vegas just because it's so much more, there's so much more meat there. There's not enough meat in a Bethesda game. And, I don't know. There's many ways they could have made Doom 2016 better, but there's so many ways it could have been worse. I think they were just afraid of having levels for whatever reason. And I have no idea who that is. Actually, no, I do. I recognize that guy. I love how, like, because of my study of history, yeah, that guy is the architect of the Holocaust. Adolf Eichmann, I believe his name is. I think he escaped and then got his head bashed in by Mossad. Now, whether or not you like the nation of Israel, you gotta admit, Mossad bashing some bastard's head in is not a bad thing. Could I say somebody like that needed his head bashed in? General Lotz was canceled today. Don't through the grenade! I'm my own worst enemy. General Lotz blew himself up with a grenade today. But yeah, I mean, say what you will. Say what you will. One moment. Instead of spelling it live stream, it was live steam. Let's see. Best bet. Avowed. Have not heard of it. Linear RPGs do take less time. Oh, I guess I got the guy's name wrong. Oops. Soldier of Fortune 3. There is a Soldier of Fortune 3, but you don't want to play it. Has been... Well, gaming right now is pretty stagnant. Gaming right now has been pretty stagnant. I mean, outside of the indies, everything's kind of been just the same old crap. Some good, some bad. I mean, there's not many it hasn't been that many advancements in, say, like something like Terminator Resistance. I keep bringing up that game because it's the only modern game, I gotta say, that actually is an Alpha Prime thing that isn't a mod. But Terminator Resistance is just your traditional, you know, Fallout-esque kind of game. I think when it comes to comes to any sort of advancement, developers are just way too wary of fucking up at this point. And when you think about it, you don't have the freedom you used to because of just the sheer amount of money involved. You would generally want to go with the sure thing so you don't lose your business versus, you know, back in the day, you could put out like a fairly advanced game with a very small dev team and you wouldn't have to spend that much money, whereas today, you know, I imagine Doom Eternal cost a shit ton of money. There's the yellow door. And so nobody wants to take that chance. That's a lot of bastards. Hey, there's one of my waifus. She just went bad. One crazy ass bitch. But I'll tell you this, when it comes to death though, I am so not looking forward to any of my other major family members dying off. I've been very fortunate not to have any of them, you know, even really get that sick. But this is the first time, and, well, this is... And he was only here for a year, much less 32 years, so, yeah. Now, a single-player focused Quake would be pretty nice. I don't know if we're actually going to see that at any time, though. Where is this? Untitled Goose Game? I don't remember that. TechCom 2090. Future War. Yeah, corporate breathing down the neck is always bad. And I'm looking forward to that Slayer's Testament mod actually being released at some point because I really, really enjoyed that. Now, there apparently are some new levels being released, but I couldn't figure out how to get those things to work. It's like you have to add this and change the ini file, and I just was like, fuck it, I'll wait till there's the actual release. That way I don't have to futz with it too much. These days I am somewhat fatigued, and it's not even getting into work. Ah, that reminds me. Well, it doesn't really remind me of work, but one of my friends came by before the worst finally happened. He showed up yesterday because I'd been, you know, really depressed because my stepdad had been not unresponsive, but pretty much in a coma for since Saturday. But anyway, he brought this. Let's see if I can get that in frame here. That's the problem with this being like a silver cart. This doesn't have a game in it, but if you can't read it, it's Din Djarin for the Honor System, and instead of Nintendo, it's Mandalore. And can't see what that says. The Mudhorn series, and This Is the Way. I love it. Even though Disney fired Gina Carano, I still like that fucking cart. Unfortunately, he has not made a little side-scrolling Mandalorian game, but I love it. It's an epic little cartridge, and it cheered me up quite a bit, actually. And then today happened, but hey, it worked while it lasted. And yeah, I would recommend getting Ancient Gods Part 2 when it's on sale, because it doesn't appeal to me anymore. And then I spoiled myself with the story, and the story looks... I'm just gonna fucking say it. It looks pretty dumb. By which I mean it is dumb. To me, at least. I mean... That's the best Satan they got, you know? That's the best one. And like, I just really... to me, it was just so... I think they were running out of money, and so they just reused the. Oh wait, no, I don't want to spoil it. Let's just put it this way: there's some assets being reused, and it's like that's your Satan. That's the best you got. You couldn't make him a little bit better. I would imagine there's an Evil Dead mod at some point. No remorse, no regret. You know, I've tried to play Crusader No Regret and No Remorse, because I got that on GOG, and it's just... There are some games that are too old even for me to play, because like with Doom here, I can just blast around here and it's a lot of fun, whereas Crusader just feels a bit too obtuse in many respects. But then again, I haven't played it in a long time, so I might be more patient these days than when I first tried it. Goddamn SS bastards! What would the gameplay be like? I imagine like it would be something like Mega Man, where like you unlock different weapons whenever you defeat a boss. Kind of like what happens with the Mandalorian in the show. Contra, I don't think. Actually, no, I take that back. What I would like to see is a Contra clone with a health bar, and the second player can be Gina Carano. That'd really piss people off. Because, yeah, it sucks that they axed her character, because, it's not even a matter that, like, I really thought that Gina Carano was even that great. It's just why they did it was so bullshitty, it's not even funny. Okay, I'm getting shot to shit, so how about I save? Yeah, that ending is pretty lame. AVPR game. That's a good question. I am not really sure. At this point, you know, Alien and Predator just aren't really done together anymore. We've had a Predator game, which is basically the Friday the 13th game, but with the Predator. At least that's what it looks like to me, which is why I didn't get it. And then we've got an Aliens Fireteam game coming out, which... Okay, it's an Aliens game. I'm gonna play it, but you know what it really looks like? It looks like a mod that somebody's wants you to pay money for. Let's be reasonable. It looks like a mod Because, like, a modder could make that. A modder could actually make Aliens Fire Team. It's nothing special. So, there's that. But it's an Aliens game. It's the best we got. We'll see if it's good, bad, or indifferent. When it comes to, like, anything Aliens related these days, the best you can do is, like, with a mod for either Killing Floor or Left 4 Dead 2. And the Left 4 Dead 2 mod works well, there's multiple mods to turn Left 4 Dead 2 into an Aliens game, and it works remarkably well. Except, it makes all the xenomorphs look like they're high on crack. Let me chug some water real quick. Wanted to get Cara Dune Black Series figure. I'm not surprised. Incel is one of those things that's lost any sort of meaning. It's like you can call anybody an incel, doesn't make it true. Now, I mean, like, let's put it this way. If you actually act like the stereotypical incel concept, where like you expect... well, actually, no. What is the stereotypical incel concept anyway? Like, what does it mean, and who's saying it means what it means? But if you're like an asshole who just, like, expects women to give it up for free without you actually, you know, being a good person, then okay, you're just an asshole. That actually reminds me of something I was thinking about the other day. When it comes to the thoughts, like the e-thoughts and all the rest, are they actually bad people? As I was thinking about this, they provide a service, and people pay it, so are they bad for providing a service? It's a service that is destructive, but is it their responsibility to care? And I know that might sound kind of cold, but does that really matter? You know, it's like, for example, an alcoholic gets drunk. You know, an alcoholic will even drink, you know, fucking rubbing alcohol if he can get it. So the question is, does the beer manufacturer have any responsibility to the alcoholic? I would say no. Everyone has responsibility for themselves. So, does the e-thought addict, and that is an addiction. No, I don't think anybody's said it yet, but it is an addiction. I mean, like, when you choose to give an e-thought $1,000 and then give your girlfriend not even a card, that's an addiction right there. That's as bad as a drug addiction. Because it makes no logical sense. But is the e-thought to blame? Now, because, like, all she's doing is providing a service, and this person is paying it. And does the e-thought have any expectation of responsibility? I believe that, you know, you pay your money, you take your chances. It's kind of like with gambling, you know, if we were to try to protect everyone from anything that might be bad, then that's a real slippery slope. Now, does that necessarily make the e-thought a good person? Hard to say. You know, once again, they're not the ones saying, hey, give me X number of dollars. It's sort of just implied. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's not like the e-thought's anything new either. I mean, there's always been, you know, people who have, well, prostituted themselves out there in the past, and they've taken money just the same as the e-thought does. I mean, back in the day, and I imagine today, you know, there's strippers that people pay thousands and thousands of dollars to. Although I would say that when it comes to the cost-benefit analysis, paying somebody in person for certain activities makes more sense than paying some e-thought. But then again, the e-thought does have the benefit of pretending to be, you know, a girlfriend, but then again, you could buy a courtesan. I don't know. People who do that stuff is not some... I would never do such a thing, because that's not in my personality to do. But at the end of the day, who's really to blame? The person that provides the service or the person purchasing the service? Yeah, it's the same thing with gun manufacturers. It's like, it's not the gun manufacturer's fault. I lose all credibility. Yeah, pretty much. It's the same with the Raycast. Because anybody can say that. And it does, and the people who scream raycast the loudest, of course, are the worst of them all. I mean, like, these people have been getting nuttier and nuttier like you would not believe. Because there was something I saw just recently on the local news where this idiot writing for something called The Root was saying that whiteness needs to be isolated, scourged, and then killed. Or something along those lines. I do know that kill was used. General Lotz was canceled today for not supporting The Root. Whatever that is. So it's like, wait a minute. It has to be killed, huh? So we're gonna ban guns. Why? Yeah. And see, like, if I had more Sajubs in my audience, which thankfully I don't, they'd be like, well, whiteness will cause like, it's insane. It is no different than, I'm trying to, where's a gnat sock? Than what that idiot's saying. It literally is. No, it's the same rambling, insane shit that only people who attend college campuses would assume is actually correct. Although in Addie's case, maybe they should have let him into college. Because if he'd gotten into art college, he would have drawn some pictures and saved everybody the trouble. But whatever. It's still nut, to say the least. So yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to transpire. I just hope nothing bad happens the rest of the year. But, well, that's unlikely. Now, one thing I do recommend if you have to deal with a lot of major emotional crap, like I am, is keep as busy as you possibly can. In downtime, things can get very difficult. A couple years, well, almost a decade ago, I had to deal with a divorce. That was like the most painful thing ever. Not quite as painful as today, but it was pretty painful nonetheless. And like, I kind of lost it. And by kind of, I mean majorly lost it. Because I was like, I don't want to work, I don't want to do anything, and I lost myself for a very long time. Keep yourself busy, and keep in mind that life can go on. And that it must. But yeah. It's one of those things. You can't give up in life. You just gotta keep fighting to try to live happily ever after. This is also Wolfenstein music as well. The Guardian, blah, blah. Oh yeah, I saw that one. I saw that article. It's insane. Utterly insane. See, for me, you know, living in the Hughes town, although until my friend's sister got attacked by a bastard, the whole racism thing here was actually pretty limited. Not anymore. Although I would be an asshole. I wonder if that guy who attacked my friend's sister was from California. A lot of them been moving here. But then again, I don't know. I'm not going to assume all people in California are terrible. But one wonders. One wonders. But yeah. Actually, what's really bad is there was another Asian female attacked. I think today, actually. There's some footage released of it on the local news. You always notice, though, they always attack lone targets, and they're almost always either female or children. Because they know if they have to face somebody who, you know, can kick their ass, that they would lose bad. But it's entirely the media saying that all these people are bad, and it's... That right there is pretty terrible. In addition to that, ever since that goddamn shooting, there was another dumbass saying that, like, they feel held hostage by irresponsible gun owners. And they also went on to say, now this is the funny part, they also went on to say that if you really want to help, you'll donate your firearms to the police. Which they just spent the entire last year saying were terrible. Talk about your mixed messaging, Smacky. No. Yeah, divorces are not fun. Especially if you're on the receiving end of one. But I got luckier than most, though. That's the thing. That's why I don't really complain about mine that much, because with the shit that I know now that some of these people have done, you know, I'll say this about my ex. You know, we may have ended up getting divorced, but she was still a class act to a degree. You'll never see me saying anything negative about her, so... It's one of those, that's just one of those things, though. I got very, very lucky. Let's see. What's crisis? Indeed, I agree with that, Anthony Jordan. Yeah, but nobody's gonna focus on mental health, because that makes too much sense. And remember what Seattle said about making sense. Can't do that. Stabby. Stabby. You actually can get an axe in this mod. The Hexen axe. But it's always going to be kind of... Actually, it's not always going to be depressing. But right now, the Hexen axe is kind of depressing because my stepdad made me this epic axe for Christmas. Which was the last of his cool creative shit. But I'm glad I got it. And it is a pretty nice axe. And by pretty nice, I mean really fucking awesome. And gaming can be therapeutic as well. Well, see, all I can say is, Doom mods don't have. Oh wait, yeah, they do. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at H-Doom. But yeah, see, for me, I never got that negative view of women that some people do when there's a divorce or something, because, you know, I've always had a very good mother. I mean, in many respects, the females in my family have always been pretty awesome, and even though I had to deal with a breakup last year and then that divorce, you know, the females weren't that bad, especially compared to what you normally get today. So to me, it's like the Western women, you know, aren't terrible. In fact, they're quite good. However, I have no real desire to date anyone from California ever again, because for whatever reason, the chick I ended up getting married to, California. The chick I dated, also California. I'm gonna stick with a Texas lady at this point, because damn, there must be something in the smog, I guess. I don't know what, but damn. Still though, not as bad as a lot of the stories that I have read, so. That's the problem with H-Doom. I can't say, well, you know, Doom mods don't have a vagina. Oh, wait. H-Doom is one of those mods that, you know, I love that it exists, but the novelty wears off in about 5 seconds. It's like, oh, it's the dildo gun. Let's see. Mental health. Ah, that's very nice, Anthony Jordan. Mexican women, eh? No. At least not at that time. A little more left than I was, but not enough to really make that big of a difference. Still actually believed in the Constitution, so there was that. The last chick I dated, though, she was definitely more, on my end politically, but one of the things I always like to mention when it comes to relationships is you can be really, really compatible, but people have their own inner demons, and that can sometimes destroy a relationship. And that's what ultimately ended up happening. And the ending wasn't as bad as it could have been. But, you know, it happens. And, you know, it does not sour me on relationships. So there's that. I mean, you gotta remember, females are just, well, they're still human, so they come in all shapes and sizes. Some shapelier than others, I should say. So there's that. And that is not the sound effect I expected from that, but whatever. So with that in mind, don't hate on the chicks just because you get, you know, a bad one here and there. And I would certainly not say any of the chicks I've been with have been bad, just they had their problems, as we all do. But yeah, I ended up getting married like back in 2012. And, you know, it looked like it would work out, but the biggest problem was, and this is the thing, I'm not going to blame her, but I'm not going to blame myself entirely. It's just, we were both fairly young, and that's not an excuse. But it's not an excuse, it's a reason. And both of us were very stubborn and very, shall we say, proud. And so neither one of us could really back down from an argument at that time, and so we would argue on too many occasions, and well, we ended up just having to call it quits. And that's just kind of how that goes sometimes. The thing is, when it comes to arguing and shit, sometimes just let it go. But when you're like 23 and you think you know everything, it's kind of hard to just let it go. That was my big problem back in the day. It's like, no, I'm right, god damn it. It's like, I think back to that, it's like, it's cringe. It's real cringe. And we got an axe. Lads and lasses, we got us a motherfucking axe. Mackie. But this is utterly worthless as a weapon because they can shred you before you can get in range. Let's see. H2 isn't really original. I did not know there were similar mods. Because should be able to modify the God damn it, I'm not surprised. Kalashnikov 47, I do not. Well, I think when it comes to politics, you know, you want somebody who will at least have some view similar to yourself. You know, like, it would be very difficult for me to date an anti-gunner just because they would want to ban literally something that I feel is necessary for protecting myself. And her as well. So, there's that. But, like, most of the time, so long as the political views are within reason, like, I wouldn't date a communist either. You know. I don't think I'd be compatible with a communist. Because she might love me, but she'd love Stalin more. As, I think that was a video done by Lynn Carr, if I'm not mistaken. So, there's that issue. Wouldn't want to date a Natsock, I wouldn't think. But, you know, within reason. I always like to say within reason. Oh, that's rough. The dungeons. You know you're on the bad side when there's a dungeon. I've often wondered, though, like, what kind of asshole would want to work in a dungeon? Probably the same person that wants to modify the Constitution, but whatever. But for me, compatibility is a very important thing, too. Like, somebody who just, well, loves who you are and appreciates for who you are. See, my mother and stepdad had a really good and very compatible relationship to the point that I was actually pretty surprised. Because my mother is a very, independent person. And so, like, they got close fast. One thing that also makes me quite happy, though, is, like, she mentioned today, like, he, got an apartment shortly before they met, and they hit it off so well, he only slept in that apartment once. I like that. Because that's really good. I mean, I guess the thing is, as depressing as it is that he's gone, you know, it was good to have that relationship for them and for me, you know. It's better to have had it than to not have had it. Also, BJ must be like 5 feet tall, or no, 4 foot tall, because look at the size of this bathroom. It's about like that secret Wolfenstein level in Doom 2. You mean our girlfriend? Oh my. Policies following everything that's going on in America. Red Heat by Arnold Schwarzenegger. A Tellarite arguing it's an art form. Let's see. An H Resident Evil game. Thanks, is everyone wants. Yeah, that is one of those things where, like, the presidents are pretty geriatric. Now, just because someone's old doesn't mean they're bad. I mean, my stepdad was pretty old, and my grandfather's 80, but then again, he's not some sort of ossified dinosaur either, so there's that. And neither was my stepdad, so. But, yeah, our girlfriend. Hey, look, hey, it's like Antifa. We have, like, a tri-relationship with, like. That's one of those things, like, you know, it sounds kind of sexy when you think about it. Like, yeah, you got relationship with two chicks, but that's never gonna work right. Because, well, humans just aren't psychologically set up for that. Regardless of what the Sajubberies might say. And, let's see. Red Heat. Yeah, that is a fucking good movie. If you've not seen Red Heat, it is a very fun Arnold Schwarzenegger film. It's a little more rough around the edges, in many respects, than a lot of his normal fare. But it is really good. Cocaine-um. Cocaine-um. And his accent, I'm sure if I were Russian, I could laugh at it more, but it still sounds hilarious. And, like, he's got, like, this Russian Desert Eagle that doesn't exist. And then they give him a 44 Magnum. It's the gun of Dirty Harry. It's pretty fun. It's not the best Schwarzenegger movie, but still worth watching at least once. I think, like, it came out a year before the Soviet Union collapsed. Let's see. I like the... Yeah, the Russian Desert Eagle in 9.2 caliber. Of all the weird caliber guns I'd love to get, I would love to have a Lee Navy. Not enough to spend, you know, thousands of bucks on it, because, like, if I won't even buy an M1 carbine, a Lee Navy is, like, not gonna happen. Because, like, an M1 carbine's great, but, you know, you've already got, like, a Rossi and a Ruger carbine. It's like, what's the point? I'd rather save the 1,000 and put it in the savings account. Chuck grenade! I actually did find a Rossi, not a Rossi, but an M1 carbine for like $8.99, but that's still ridiculous to me. Especially for a World War II design. I mean, it's a good design, but it's not $800 worthy to me. But it's one of those things that it was a wartime expediency kind of thing, and it worked how it needed to work. Oh yeah, I remember that line. Original BioShack, KS-23, 4-gauge pump action. My God. Let's see, what was it saying? BioShack. I played BioShock 1. That was one of my random games that I hated for no real reason. I don't know why I hated it, but I did. I haven't played it since, but I definitely will have to get into that again to see why I disliked it. Because, for some reason, every time somebody asked me about it back in the day, I was like, oh, that game's terrible. And yet, you know what's funny about that game now that I think of it? Player just died. BJ literally just had a heart attack. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, BioShock. For all that I said that I hated it, I certainly played it long enough, because I played the entire game, and I just kept coming back to it again and again and again, despite dying all the time. So I must not have hated it too much. It's the same way with Fallout 3. I hated on Fallout 3 for no good reason too, until I realized it was actually with my ex that I was married to. I was telling her about that game, and she was all like, you don't sound like you hate it very much, because I was talking about, oh yeah, you can do this, you can do that. It's like, oh yeah. That's one thing I will say about both chicks I've been with, is they have improved my life and actually improved me to a certain extent. So, there's that. I did get something out of it. I'd like to think we both got something out of it. Dead Space, nearest person with no idea how anyone can share a romantic partner. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I mean, it sounds like it's one of those things where it sounds sexy. It's like you get two chicks. It's like, well, except, that's just not really gonna work for, like, all the reasons. And I'll look at the chat again in just a second after I slaughter some more bastards. You know, I've always wanted a PS90, but those guns are like $2,000, and the bullets are ridiculously expensive, and they're not going to do anything that my the carbines I have now already do. Now, one kind of depressing thing about guns is I was going to show my stepdad was actually going to show up in a review, well, actually not a review, but a first shots but unfortunately, well, with his passing, I can't do that. We were going to do videos on some black powder revolvers, the 1858 Remington and the 1860 Colt. I actually inspired him to get the 1860 Colt, mainly because he had gotten out of firearms after, well, the Vietnam War. That's one of those things that people often forget, is that when you use a firearm on a two-way range, you might not want to own one when you come back. And so, he had actually gotten out of firearms for a very long time. But, you know, we were close enough, and he really liked that 1858 Remington. And so he got himself an 1860 Colt, which is unfortunately now mine. And tonight, the 1860 Colt is a sexy, sexy revolver to say the least. He was very, very happy with it. He never got a chance to shoot it, but before, you know, it happened, he got to enjoy having a firearm again because he was finally able to, you know, get past Vietnam enough to have another gun, even if it was just a black powder. And so, when I do, I'm going to do that first shots as soon as I can actually get to the rifle range, and I'm going to shoot that pistol, and I'm going to talk about it. Now, sort of like to honor, that's going to be the first of the things I'm going to do to honor his memory. One of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to review armor, and I'm going to review Viet Cong Purple Haze. I had wanted to have him cameo on those, but it's not going to happen, but at least I'll do that, and that'll be good. And ho, Doom 1. Doom 1, I love it. Bioshock did have an interesting message to it. A slave obeys, a man chooses. I don't know if it had an anti-libertarian message. I think Andrew Ryan was just an asshole. You know? It doesn't show that libertarianism doesn't work. It's just an asshole's gonna be an asshole no matter what government you have. At least that's what I got from it. Or like, organized crime is terrible. Because ultimately it was taken down by organized crime, which has taken down societies before. Colt Navy cartridge conversion. Those aren't that expensive. Well, back in the day I owned an 1851 Navy. Then I ended up selling it off, and then just recently I picked up an 1858 Remington. Had some troubles with it because I didn't have the right caps, and good luck buying any caps. Thankfully, I can shoot my stepdad's 1860 Colt because I have caps for that, but not for the Remington. And you can't get any caps because ammo-demic. So yeah. Let's see. Black powder is a lot of fun. It used to be really cheap too, but ammo-demic after all. And yeah, there really are a lot of build engine things in this, including some textures from Shadow Warrior and things of that nature. It's a pretty damn good mod. I mean, it's not as good as, say, Blade of Agony, although I will say it's a little bit more fun than Blade of Agony. And there was a lot more attention to detail on Brutal Wolfenstein, but I'm glad there's some more Brutal Wolfenstein content after that mod stopped being produced. Because this is one of the Alpha Prime mods. Holy shit, we got a guy with a grenade launcher. Or a rocket pistol, or whatever the fuck. Let's save. We're gonna get out the old caliber 30 M1. Actually, no, we'll get this. And blast us some SS bastards. I don't know if I'm gonna get canceled, because I just remembered something that was pretty funny. There needs to be a meme image, like photoshopped, of the Nintendo DS Reich. Why do I say that? Because I was listening to a World War II book with my text-to-speech app, and it pronounced Das Reich, DS Reich. There needs to be a thing like that. I want to see a mod image like that. General Lotz was cancelled today for wanting an anti-Semitic Nintendo DS. He was arrested by the Thought Police and has not been seen since. But anyway, me getting in trouble for being edgy, I guess. Ah, the Ruger Old Army. Not bad. Ah, Well, Doom 1, stop talking to me and get back to work. Get episode 3 finished. Because I've been wanting to play that for years. Because, damn, was Blade of Agony fucking good. That, I need to stream that, and I might stream that at some point soon. Because Blade of Agony, it's like, the work you guys did on that, holy shit. The computer I ran it on at the time barely could handle that because of all those trees. Like, really? 10,000 trees? How many more trees do you need? But goddamn, was that a good game. Breads, that's a classic movie. Yeah, it's pretty good. And yeah, you can't... I've never shot a Ruger Mini 14, but evidently they're not too bad. For me, I've always just been a big fan of Soviet weapons. But yeah, Blade of fucking Agony. That is a damn good mod. Although, unfortunately, y'all's installer just completely triggers all the antivirus. But man, is that a good mod? I want to finish playing that. You know, I mean, it was good, and it was only 2 episodes long. But those were some huge episodes. I love how it started out in North Africa. Although I'm not sure how historically accurate, not that anyone cares but me, having a G43 in North Africa was, but who cares? It good. And then I think like the little prisoner dude, he like betrays you at some point. And then like the train, I think they had to stop a train. I gotta play that again. And if I'm also thinking of the right mod, there was like a battle in a French city and you had to hold off waves of enemies. That was really impressive. It was just it's one of the best mods for Doom in many respects. Which is why you guys hurry up and finish the bloody thing! How long does it take to finish that 3rd episode? It's taking forever. Holy crap, we got bastards. We got 2 Hans Grosses. Hans Grosses. Let's see. Pick a rifle at some point after I get a good black powder revolver would probably be a black powder rifle, I should say, would probably be, well, this depends on what you want to do. I'd recommend either a 1860 rifle musket or a Brown Bess, because Revolutionary War and all that. Oh crap, he's gonna fucking vaporize, run! Alright, we're gonna sneak out there and shred him. 30-06 to the face. I think there's like is that a 3rd Hans in there? God damn. Let's see. That French city was really quite amazing. Very good work, Doom 1. I really do hate it when, because I do get some, god damn it, I do get a lot of comments blocked for some reason, and it's never anything bad. Who did we vaporize him? Oh, we did. That French city was very, very impressive. The whole mod was ridiculous for what, it was ridiculous for the fact that it was running on the Doom engine. I could not imagine how complicated that was. I tried to make a Doom WAD myself once. Many, many years ago. I couldn't figure out how to get half the shit working, but then again, I will admit, I didn't really try that hard. And basically, I made nothing but hallways, and I couldn't figure out how to program the exit to work, so... But then again, I spent about 5 seconds watching tutorials, so it's not really my best effort. The door pad is locked. Door pad? Don't you mean, door handles? Oh, you get to fight in Berlin? Awesome! M41 Johnson and FG42. Oh yeah, I can see the Discord thing looking up. I'll look at it. Actually, you know what? I'll check my phone real quick. And believe it or not, I'm actually playing this mod with a controller to save my fingers. Let's see here. Ken Levine. I do not remember anything about Ken Levine. Okay, I'm just too popular for my own good. Let's see. Connecticut Valley Arms is... I've never heard of Connecticut Valley Arms. I've just bought stuff from, used to be from Bass Pro Shops. But anything made by the... God damn it! By the Italians is generally pretty good. Because I've got... Because the 1860 Army I unfortunately now have, and my 1858 Remington, are both made by Pieta. People like to hate on them, but I've never had a bad Pieta. So I don't know how accurate some of that stuff is. I guess lemons do exist, but I have not gotten one. I sometimes wonder if people, like, get shit out of, like, the bargain bin, and so, like, it's just guns that are generally, you know, broken, and that's why they're in the bargain bin, and people are like, how dare they not work? None of my revolvers are from there, so I don't know. And speaking of stuff being broken, cancel culture is one of those things. Did I already check this secret? I don't know if I did or not. Well, let's take a look here. Cancel culture is one of those things. Not just cancel culture done by, like, Twitter, Facebook, and stuff like that, but I mean, like, when somebody fucks up or does something bad, does somebody deserve to be canceled for it? Depending on what it is, because Military Arms Channel jacked the price up on some SVT 40s. No, some SVD Dragunovs. And now he's being canceled. You know, it's not illegal. So, is it right or wrong to cancel him for that? And for me, I don't know. It's like, is that a disproportionate response? Considering what cancel culture does to people. It's just one of those things where, I don't know, maybe the internet was a mistake. It really isn't, because it's allowed me to connect with people I never would have before, but it does bring out the vicious side in people. Also, speaking of viciousness, MG42! If I'd had the $4,000, and I certainly didn't back then, some parts kits came into the country, former Yugoslavians no less, for semi-auto MG42s. Oh, it would have been awesome to have one. I mean, they wouldn't be good for anything, but they'd still be fucking awesome. Who shot me? One of those little SS fucks. Let's see. I don't own that many, although when I say, like, when I think of a lot, I think of somebody like, say, Ian McCullum, who owns like 20 different Berthiers. So, by Ian McCullum standards, no, I don't. But by General Lotz standards, I've got like 3 single-action revolvers, which I guess compared to like what normal people would have, I have a lot, but I don't really consider that a lot. Because when I think of a lot, I think of like, here's a whole wall of Berthiers. Or here's a whole wall of Labels, like multiple different manufacturers and shit like that, so I have a sufficient amount of single-action revolvers. 2 black powder, one of which I really don't want to have because of obvious reasons, and one other that is the 1858 and then the Super Blackhawk. I think I've gotten lost, despite having played this level before. I'm going to blame it on being emotionally distraught today. Here, scalper us. Someone is already scummy. Is any complaint out? See, though, all that's true, but does he deserve to have his entire, you know, business and livelihood and all the rest completely destroyed? I just feel like that might be more disproportionate than not. I think it's just that all or nothing internet bloodsport concept just kind of brings out the worst in people. It is bad, but is it bad enough to deserve that? Or maybe I'm just being Mr. Nice Guy too much. I mean, yeah, it is scummy. But, I don't know. At the end of the day, I think his just desserts would have been he didn't get the other 50 rifles, and he couldn't sell them, and if he wanted to sell anything from FEG, he'd have to pay a premium. I just don't know if, like, his YouTube channel should be destroyed, or, you know, he's gonna get kicked off of YouTube, or he's gonna lose his business. I think there just needs to be a proportionate response. Because it just seems like when people go for the jugular, you know, we're gonna take him down, take it all down, burn it all down. It just doesn't sit right with me. I mean, it's not like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just feeling in an overly sympathetic mood today. But yeah, Mac really should have been smart enough to realize that the internet exists and you shouldn't complain one day and then do the same thing the next day. Which he did, and now... And the thing is, when I'm not really, like, simping for Mac when I say that. I'm just pointing out that, like, there needs to be just more proportionate responses to some things. But to be perfectly frank, I never... Oh, crap. See, a more proportionate response would be not to shoot me in the face with a rocket! The second I open the door. I think it's a game, it's like, just stop, General. Don't waste your time on Military Arms Channel. His stuff just wasn't that great back... Well, it just isn't that great. But then again, I've seen a number of things where, like, his, whole little... Like, his shop isn't that great and stuff like that, so, I don't know. People do get, very much taken by the money. And, you know, I guess he saw those dollar signs and, well, he decided he'd try to go for it. And now he's kind of lost everything for doing it. Because when you look at it, he was originally getting 100 rifles and wanted to sell them for 10K a pop. Okay? That's $1 million right there. You wave that in front of somebody, I guess, like that, and he'll be like, all money, please. And I'm not going to try to justify that in any way, shape, or form. That's one of those things where it's like the golden goose concept. If he had done it right, he would have sold them for a reasonable price, and then he could have kept getting more and more of those rifles in. Instead, he went all in for the $1 million, and now he gets no bucks. So, yeah. I still don't think he should, like, lose his whole business or anything. But then again, that is the free market. People can choose not to shop there, so... let's see. Or consider it how Soviet stuff. Yeah, that's a pretty nice texture. I did not know that's what that meant, though. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Actually, no. I'll be extra painful. Gefar? Geffer? I know it's not Geffer. I'm sure it requires me to make my tongue more twisted when I'm... Requires me to have my tongue more twisted than when I'm having the happy fun time. But anyway, eating out aside... Oh! But anyway. Pronouncing the Germanic language is not easy. Although I would like to learn it one day. Because it is a fascinating language, just from what little I've read about it. Where instead of, like, making two separate words, it's just one long one. Hence why you've got the Panzerkampfwagen. Although I like the original thing of just calling it a tank. Just call it a tank, goddammit. Save. But to be honest, I would never pay 10K for a SVD. I mean, SVDs are cool and all, but to be worth 10K? I think not. Especially when you can get a perfectly good 308 rifle for substantially less. I mean, like, way, way less. I mean, even now with the Gundemic going on, that PTR, while certainly not cheap by any means, was not a ridiculously expensive firearm either, and I don't think the SVD Dragunov is going to do that much better than that, so... I'm not even gonna try. It's almost as bad as French. Okay, there's gotta be... Wait, I already got the red key, so we gotta find the red door. Now, whether or not the objective is to paint it black or not, I'm not entirely sure. There it is. There we be. I think. Or did I go in the exact opposite direction? The answer is... Okay, we gotta go back to the blue door. Don't you just love having a map that lets you see where to go? Okay, so we go through there, blah, blah, blah. Can we go through there? Okay, I see another blue door down there. So many games just don't understand how important a map is. Can see now, I can easily find the red door. And I may just paint it black. See, like, that's easy to pronounce. I love that. That's the GoldenEye font there. Zellenblock. I know I just made everybody cringe in terror at how horrible I pronounced that. Okay, is this still the right way? Let's see, and the answer is yes. The old read red door. Gefagens, huh? I guess. It's like Haagen-Dazs, right? Only not as tasty. Let's see. M1A is more accurate? Probably. I think the AK is pretty good, but the SVD, you know, it was never designed to be a super accurate rifle anyway. And if all you want is just a DMR, like, there's so many easier and cheaper ways to do that. The AR-10 is a good example. It might not be as durable as one would like, but it's more than durable enough to not spend 10 grand on. See, that's the difference between a collectible rifle and a rifle you'd want to legitimately shoot for shooting purposes. It's like, the SVD is not going to do anything better than something you can get for a fraction of the price. And since they're new manufacturer, I'd really question the logic of if they're even worth it, because they don't have the historical aspect to it. I think we might finally have gotten to the exit. I think, yeah, I've been going 2 hours. I will finish up this level, and then we'll call it a day. Reboot is supposed to combine the first and second game into one movie, and they're setting up for failure. Well, every Resident Evil movie has been a failure, so yeah. The only thing good about Resident Evil, the second movie, Apocalypse, is the chick playing Jill Valentine was really, really hot. And this was at a time when you could still smoke in movies, and she looked really, really hot with a pistol in one hand and a cig in the other. See, she should have been the main character and not Ellis. I think we got him. No, I think there's still one of those. How do you know if I'm American? I'm technically Texan. Ooh, that reminds me. Hopefully I'll be happy enough to do Wolfenstein 2009 next month. There's a perfect line where some random guy calls BJ a Yankee, and it's like, wait a minute, there's no need for insults here. Because for those who don't know, you don't call a Texan a Yankee, because they're not. Do I look like I'm from New York City, boy? Or actually California in World War II wouldn't have been seen as bad, but New York would have. That's what they think about. That's something that's kind of crazy. Like, California today is like this dank cesspit. Actually, it was a dank cesspit even in the 70s. At least according to my stepfather, who actually lived there for a while. It was actually, you know, the old thing about, like, Vietnam vets getting spat on? Yeah, that actually did happen. That's not, like, some boomer thing. It legitimately did take place. But yeah, he lived in California for a while. And it was apparently bad even back then. So, yeah. But, like, in terms of media, California was seen as, like, the place to live at one point. And I've got a med kit. So instead of just dying every 2 seconds... They are... Well, there are 1 or 2 good video game movies out there, like, Sonic. And yeah, AKs are generally more expensive than ARs. I like the 7.62x39 cartridge. And to be perfectly frank, I got my AK before they became ridiculously priced. Like, I would not recommend paying that much more for an AK over an AR. I was able to get my AK for, I think, about 600 bucks. You can't do that anymore, that's for sure. Which was still about half again as much as an AR, though. But, yeah, it was worth it. I worked the overtime for it, and I'm gonna enjoy it. But I would not recommend dropping $1,000 on an AK, that's for sure. That is totally not worth it. It's kind of like the M1 carbine issue of, like, do you want to drop $1,000 on just what is effectively a pistol caliber carbine? Especially when, you know, it's a fairly uncommon pistol round anyway. There was a revolver chambered for 30 caliber carbine. I wouldn't want to shoot it, but it existed. I think there was also a semi-auto chamber for that as well, but according to Forgotten Weapons, it was ridiculously dangerous and had a chance of blowing up. Speak to Agent 6 of the open cell to continue the mission. Oh my god, this is actually pretty advanced. Not as advanced as, say, Blade of Agony. Ooh, he got fucked up. Wait, Captain Blaskowitz, I'm relieved that you have come for me, but I'm afraid we don't have much time. Before myself and others were captured on our reconnaissance mission, we fought something. Dr. Schraubs and Hitler were apparently seen at a Nazi bunker in, I thought it said Uruguay. Yes, this paranormal vision have been conducting. Why did they use this font? I can't read it. A cargo ship is not far from here. Facility in the Northland airfield. I didn't know we could talk to somebody. Oh, is that it? Is that all he's gonna say to me? Well, fine. Maybe if your font was more visible, I'd know what the fuck he said. So we gotta go to some place, I guess. Oh yeah, we just leave through those doors. So I think you had to finish the mission or something. Okay, came from here. And so I would think I would go up here. Evidently not. Oh, there it is. It's a good thing I found that. Yeah, the animated films weren't that. Okay, I will blame. Let's see. I'm going to blame you, Turok Farseed. You strike again. I was reading your chat message and I got shot by the Natsocks. You must be working for them. Turok Farseed was cancelled today. But anyway, I'll actually finish reading that. No, I actually got rid of that high point many years ago. Not because it was terrible, but because I just found myself not shooting it anymore. I mean, 45 ACP is great and all, but I stuck with 9mm because it was cheap. It's not anymore, but I just never found myself using it. A bias against the AK. I'm especially blaming you, Turok Farseed, again. Let's see. Choose the M1 carbine for historical. Well, one second. Thompson because of historic factor. But yeah, the M1 carbine does have that historical aspect. It looks cool, and let's face it, it is a little 6-pound rifle, so it's a pretty handy little thing. It weighs less than my PC carbine, so there's that. And that thing's chambered in 9mm. And I will say I appreciate all of you in the chat, because I don't feel quite as bad as I did earlier today. Even if I still am gonna be sad when I get off. This has been a nice diversion, except when Turok Farseed is getting me killed. But yeah, it's helped a bit. It's gonna be rough the next year, but I think I'll be able to make it as best I can. I mean, I made it through that divorce, which was rough. I'm sure I can make it through this. And yeah, the thing about the Thompson though, as cool as it is, it's still a bloody boat anchor. Because it weighs more than the Garand. I love how I got shot immediately. Just immediately. Okay, I'm a cheat because I want to get up there already. I'm a cheat because I want to get up there because I'm tired and want to relax a bit. Well, actually, this is relaxing. But I'm a cheat anyway because I'm feeling lazy. And also, it's like they immediately blindside you the second you get up there. But the Thompson, man, it's not bad. I guess I could use that now. Speaking of, and I'm immediately out of ammunition. Oh, I'm dead. Shit. I'm immediately out of ammo when I switch to the Thompson. I'm gonna blame Truck Fire Seat again. You just gotta keep getting poor BJ here killed. Of course, there's the M1A1 Thompson. Very simplified. Not as simplified as, say, a grease gun. Now, one thing that's kind of, that almost seems like a video game thing is there was a 100-round drum created for the Thompson. And there's actually some videos of these things being used. They are ridiculously huge. Like, positively massive. Alright, dude. Just because you have the... I know that sound effect. His chain gun sound effect comes from the, from AVP1 on PC. I knew I recognized that. Holy shit, that was a difficult level. Alright, I think I might actually try to finish this one off next time, whenever that may be. But until then, I am the Mighty General, and I'm gonna check the chat real quick. Actually held a Thompson, pretty heavy, couldn't hold it with the stock at my shoulder. Those things are pretty heavy. Let's see. I would also love an M3 grease gun, but what can you do? 50 or 100 rounds, those are heavy. So, alright, have a good rest of the week, and I'll catch you all later.